Hey friend, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here listening to another episode of the Pattern Design Circle podcast. Here we talk all about the ins and outs of designing knit and crochet patterns and running a business that makes it all possible. I'm Jessica, your host, knitting pattern designer, design mentor, and the friend in your ear. Can't wait to dive right in. The Pattern Design Circle podcast is sponsored by the Pattern Design Circle, a membership community for knit and crochet pattern designers that are feeling lost, lonely, or frustrated in their business. It connects you with a supportive community that's always eager to answer your questions and help you through the hard times. And there's loads of resources and activities specifically catered to business and designing. Sound like your jam? Check it out at snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle. That's snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits, knits.com/design-circle. All right, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pattern Design Circle podcast. If you listened to the last few episodes, you've already heard this announcement several times, but just a little kind of warning, I guess, that I have been sick, so I am congested. My voice is not quite normal. I apologize, but I'm glad that you're here to hang out and listen. So, let's get into it. This conversation, we are talking all about authenticity. And so this is something that is really valuable and important to me as a business owner, especially. And kind of trying to sort out, what does authenticity actually mean? And I think we can each have our own definition. Obviously, there are different interactions, different styles, different ways of showing up that feel authentic. Different things that we do that will feel more forced. And I guess one direction here is that, like, I recently talked on one of the episodes about shoulds. Shoulds, have tos, and need tos. Things that we feel like we should, have to, or need to be doing because somebody else is telling us to. And a lot of those things don't feel authentic. They don't feel aligned. And it's because there's like the gut reaction inside of us that's like, that's just not the way that I interact with the world. And new things, obviously, it can be a little bit difficult to really hash out, is this uncomfortable because it's new? Is this uncomfortable because I've never shown up live before, because I've never shared my voice before, because I've never shown my face before? Is it uncomfortable because of that? Or is it uncomfortable because it doesn't sit right in my gut? It just doesn't feel right. It does not feel like who I am as a person, and it's portraying something that I'm not. And so I guess maybe authenticity is where we can just be ourselves and feel ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we do things that are always comfortable. I do believe that in order to grow and evolve as humans, as business owners, as marketers, as designers, we have to do things that are new and uncomfortable, things that feel hard. I think it's actually a really amazing thing that we get to do these things and experience all of these emotions and go through all of these processes that help us as humans, and help us to grow and evolve and learn and do new things. And as we do those things that are actually aligned, even though they're uncomfortable, it becomes a more comfortable interaction. And I suppose that's where, if something is inauthentic or unauthentic, we don't ever get to that place where it just feels good. Where we're just in our gut, there's still something that's like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. And it requires us to strip away kind of, I guess, our beliefs of, why doesn't this feel right? Is this because I'm scared? Is this because of a fear inside of me? That's a lot of our discomfort around showing up online is because of fear of how we're going to be perceived. And those are very valid fears, but we can work through those things. And that doesn't mean that it's misaligned or that it's not authentic. So what does authentic actually mean? And I don't even know how this thought came up, but the other day I was thinking about this and decided I really like thinking of authenticity as just this idea of belonging in our business. And a few episodes ago, this is episode 47 on episode 44, I talked a bit about I was talking about the creative thought journey and how I created it. But in it, I was telling the story of designs I had created before I created the creative thought journey, and some of those stories of feeling like I didn't belong. And so that sense of not belonging is something that we are, probably most all of us, quite comfortable with. Or not comfortable with, familiar with. We've been there, we recognize that, we know what it feels like. We've experienced it time and time again. But that feeling of belonging is a feeling of, I want to say comfort, but given what I just talked about, it's not 100% necessarily comfort. Maybe feeling safe, feeling like maybe safe is just the best word. And aligned, although that's another word that I feel like, I say a lot, authenticity, alignment, but what does that actually mean? And so authenticity is maybe really just feeling like we belong in this space that is our business, that we can show up as who we are and not feel ashamed and feel like we've surrounded ourselves with a support system and with customers and an audience that values who we are. We don't have to show up and be fake. And I guess maybe that's the biggest thing for me for authenticity, is that I don't have to be fake. I've worked multiple jobs where it felt like every day I had to show up and be somebody that I wasn't. I felt like I had to be, and it just, it's so difficult emotionally, mentally, when we're living in that space. And it just feels hard. It makes everything harder than it needs to be, I think. And so that's honestly why I continue to cling on to my business. I continue to want to run my business. I would be lying if I said I haven't thought about what if I were to just go get a quote unquote real job again. But it's this being able to just be who I am and make the decisions that are best for me, that keeps me in my business the most. And that, I think, is the authenticity. That is being able to be who we are, what we are, show our true selves. And that doesn't mean you have to show every part of your life. That doesn't mean that everybody has to know every detail of who you are and what you are. But being able to show up and just be comfortable in the fact that your folks know who you are and they aren't expecting something different of you. You can show up and share who you are without trying to mask it, without trying to cover it up, without trying to pretend that you're something that you aren't. And so to me, I guess I feel like that's where that feels like authenticity, and that feels like belonging. It feels like belonging in my business. And so that's why I'm so passionate about us building businesses that are authentic, that are aligned, because that means every day we get to show up as we are. We don't have to put on a mask. We don't have to put on a personality. We don't have to pretend anything. Nothing has to be fake. There are things that are uncomfortable. There are things that we kind of grow into. But even in those things, we can still be ourselves. And that's the beauty of running our own business. That's the beauty of finding authenticity and alignment. And I just love that picture of really belonging in our business. Like our business is here for us, to support us, and we've built this relationship with it. And included in that, of course, sphere of our business is all of these other connections that we've built that can absolutely be authentic and feel good and feel like we belong. And that's a beautiful thing. So if you're maybe not feeling like just that sense of belonging in your business or that sense of authenticity, I do encourage you to dig deeper. And especially if you want that authenticity, dig deeper and sort out why does this feel misaligned? Why doesn't this feel authentic? What am I doing that doesn't feel like me? And a lot of times I don't think that has as much to do with our strategy as it does with our branding and our content, market, like our messaging, our tone of voice, maybe the way we present ourselves in photos, all that kind of stuff. I just encourage you to dig deep into that and to try to sort out what feels misaligned here. Why don't I feel like I belong here? And that doesn't mean belonging in the community as a whole. Like I think we can have aligned, authentic businesses where we don't feel like we fit in. And that's obviously why I shouldn't say obviously, you may not know, but that's why I created Pattern Design Circle, is because I felt like we needed a space where folks could feel like they belonged in the design world. And obviously we could have a whole conversation on imposter syndrome too, but to feel like you actually belong in your business, to feel like you belong in your content, you belong in your designs, you belong in your patterns, you belong in your audience, you belong on the platforms that you're showing up in, just among your people. And I think it's such a beautiful experience that we get to have here. And if you need help sorting out what's misaligned, of course I'd be happy to help you. I offer one-on-one mentoring and coaching. And I have, of course, the Pattern Design Circle, which is a membership for designers. It's currently not open. But if you go to snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle or /design-circle, snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits.com /design-circle. You can join the waitlist there, and I'll go ahead and link it in the show notes too. But in there, I offer coaching and support through forums and all that kind of stuff there. So there are different ways I can help you, but also feel free. I mean, if you have a support network, reach out to somebody that you trust. Just bouncing ideas off of other people can be so helpful, and maybe journaling about it, just digging deeper into what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what feels aligned, what doesn't feel aligned. Why is that? Is it a belief that I have, a fear that I have? Is it because it just doesn't work for me? It doesn't fit with my style. This is not who I am. This is a personality that I'm not. And I know that if you've already worked on building this business to be something that you're not, it can be hard to change. It can be hard to now actually show up as yourself, but you can take baby steps. You can just slowly start to show more and more of yourself, change how you're presenting yourself so that it does feel aligned. Give yourself grace. And again, if you need any support, of course, feel free to reach out. But here's to building beautifully aligned and authentic businesses where we really feel like we belong, where we belong in our business, we belong with our people. Alrighty, I'll chat with you on the next one. Wow, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it valuable, please share the podcast with a designer friend. And if you have a minute, leave a review. It's so helpful for me and means the world to me. Chat soon.